That night, I only wanted to get my daughter home safe. Instead, I found myself pulling a bride from a burning car, and with her, a storm I never saw coming. I thought I was just saving a stranger, but what if that moment was fate rewriting my life? Do you believe in second chances and life-changing moments? If yes, like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. The night was quiet except for the hum of my old car. My daughter was curled up in the back seat, her head resting against the window, her small breasts fogging the glass. "Daddy, are we almost home?" she mumbled, half asleep. "Almost, baby," I said, keeping my eyes on the empty road. "Just a few more minutes." She sighed softly and shifted, hugging her stuffed rabbit. That sound, it always broke me and healed me at the same time. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Every mile I drove, I thought the same thing. Don't fail her. Don't ever fail her. "Daddy," she whispered again, "can we have pancakes tomorrow? The ones Mommy used to make." Her voice pierced straight through me. I swallowed hard, forcing my tone to stay steady. "Yeah, sweetheart, I'll make them for you." "You never get them right," she teased, a sleepy giggle escaping. I smiled in the dark, though my chest hurt. That's because Mommy was magic. I just followed the recipe. Silence settled again, but inside me the storm never stopped. Losing my wife had been like losing the air in my lungs. Some nights, I thought I'd suffocate from the emptiness. But then my little girl would look at me with those big eyes, and I knew I couldn't fall apart. She needed me to stand tall, even if I was crumbling inside. "Daddy, do you ever miss her?" Her words caught me off guard. My grip on the wheel tightened. I wanted to tell her I thought about her mother every single day, that the ache never left. But she was 7. I couldn't dump the weight of my grief on her tiny shoulders. "Yeah," I whispered, "every day." "Me too." Her voice was small. Sometimes I pretend she's still here. Like when I'm brushing my teeth, I pretend she's standing in the doorway, smiling. I blinked hard, the road ahead blurring. I cleared my throat. That's a good memory to keep. She nodded, already drifting back to sleep. The quiet returned, but my head was loud. Am I doing enough? Will she grow up broken because I couldn't give her both parents? What if I make the wrong choices and she pays for them? I forced a breath through my nose. No one prepared me for this. Every meal, every homework problem, every bedtime story, it all rested on me. Sometimes I felt proud. Other times, I felt like a fraud. But when she laughed, when she hugged me tight around the neck and said she loved me, I knew I'd die before I let the world hurt her. The headlights cut through the dark stretch of highway. My thoughts circled back to the same promise I'd made since the day her mother died. I will carry the weight, no matter how heavy, no matter how alone. A flash of movement up ahead pulled me out of my spiral. Smoke. At first it looked like fog rolling low across the asphalt. But as we got closer, the acrid stench hit my nose. "Daddy?" My daughter stirred again, rubbing her eyes. "What's that smell?" My stomach tightened. I slowed the car, squinting into the night. The orange glow grew brighter, dancing against the dark sky. "Stay down, baby," I told her gently. "It's okay. Just stay in your seat." As we rounded the bend, the sight came into view. Twisted metal, flames licking into the air, glass scattered across the road. A car lay overturned, smoke pouring from its hood. "Daddy!" she gasped, sitting up straight. "Is someone inside?" My chest pounded. I could see a figure moving. Trapped. My knuckles went white on the steering wheel. This was it, the kind of moment that split life into before and after. I pulled over, heart racing. My daughter grabbed my sleeve. "Don't go," she pleaded. "Please, Daddy, don't leave me." I cupped her cheek with shaking fingers. "I'll be right back. I promise." Her eyes brimmed with tears. "What if something happens to you?" I forced a smile I didn't feel. "Then who's going to make those pancakes tomorrow?" She hesitated, lips trembling, then nodded slowly. "Okay, but hurry." I kissed her forehead, then pushed open the door. The heat of the flames rushed toward me, and every instinct screamed to stay back. But I couldn't. Someone was in there, As I stepped into the smoke, I whispered the same words I'd repeated since my wife's death. God, please don't let me fail my little girl. And then I ran toward the fire. The fire roared louder as I sprinted toward the wreck. My lungs burned with every breath of smoke. Daddy, my daughter screamed in the car behind me. Come back. Please don't go. Her voice cut through me like a knife. My legs almost stopped right there. What if I don't make it back to her? What if she loses me the way she lost her mother? But then I heard something else, weak, desperate pounding against the window of the overturned car. A shadow moved inside. Hold on. I shouted. I'm coming. The heat slammed into my skin as I crouched low, the flames crackling, threatening to swallow the wreck hole. Gasoline leaked across the asphalt, its sharp stench clawing at my throat. Daddy, please, my daughter cried again. It's going to blow. I'll be okay. I yelled back, though my voice shook. Lie if you must. She needs to believe you're unbreakable. I pressed my face against the shattered glass, peering inside. My heart froze. A woman, young, in a wedding gown torn and stained, was trapped upside down, her arm pinned. Her eyes met mine through the smoke, wide with terror. Help me, she whispered, lips cracked and bloody. My chest tightened. I've got you. Don't close your eyes. Stay with me. I yanked at the door handle, lock jammed. I kicked it useless. Flames crawled closer along the leaking fuel. Daddy! My daughter's voice was shrill now, panicked. Please, don't die. Her words sliced me open. I can't let her lose me. I can't let this stranger burn either. God, give me strength. I grabbed a rock from the roadside and smashed it against the window. The glass splintered, cut in my hands. But I didn't feel the pain. I hit again, until shards rained down. The woman flinched, coughing violently. It's too late? No! I growled, reaching inside. It's not too late. Not tonight. I tugged at her arm, but it wouldn't budge. My heart hammered. Think, damn it. Think. I crawled halfway through the jagged window, ignoring the glass digging into my arms. Push toward me. I told her. On 3. 1, 2, 3. She screamed, twisting her body as I pulled with every ounce of strength I had left. At first, nothing. Then, with a sickening crack of metal, her arm came free, and she collapsed into me. Got you? I panted, hauling her through the broken frame. Her body was limp, heavier than I expected. Ash streaked her face. Mascara melted into rivers. She clutched at me weakly, whispering something I couldn't hear over the roar of the fire. The ground trembled beneath us. My stomach dropped. It's going to blow. Daddy! My daughter's voice was frantic, shrill, breaking. Hurry! I scooped the woman into my arms, her dress dragging, smoldering at the edges. I staggered backward, lungs screaming, muscles shaking. Step after step, I forced myself away from the wreck. Then the night shattered. An explosion like thunder split the air. The car erupted behind us, flames leaping skyward. The blast knocked me forward, but I twisted, shielding her body with mine. When the ground stopped shaking, I opened my eyes. My daughter was standing outside our car now, crying, hands over her mouth. Daddy, she sobbed, running toward me. I'm okay. I called, choking on smoke. My arms trembled, still holding the woman. I'm here. She crashed into me, clutching my side while staring wide-eyed at the bride in my arms. Is she dead? I shifted, pressing fingers against the woman's neck. A faint pulse beat back. Relief washed through me. No, she's alive. The bride's eyelids fluttered. She tried to speak, lips moving. I leaned down, straining to hear over the crackle of the fire and my daughter's ragged breaths. Her voice was broken, a rasp. Don't let them find me. My skin prickled. Them? Who's them? Before I could ask, her eyes rolled back and she went limp against me. I looked down at her burned gown, then at my daughter, clutching me in terror. My mind spun. What have I just pulled us into? The night that began with quiet roads and sleepy whispers had turned into something else entirely, and I knew nothing would ever be the same again. Her words still echoed in my ears. Don't Let them find me. I should have taken her to the hospital. That would have been the normal thing, the safe thing. But something in her voice, something in the way she clung to me, even unconscious, told me she wasn't safe there. So instead, I drove home. Daddy, my daughter whispered from the back seat, eyes red from crying. Why are we taking her with us? Shouldn't doctors help her? I kept my eyes on the road. Doctors ask questions, baby. And right now, I don't have answers. But she looks like a princess, she murmured, staring at the bride's ruined dress. Why would a princess be in a car like that? I didn't answer, because I didn't know. At home, I carried the woman upstairs and laid her gently on my daughter's bed. Her skin was pale under the flickering light, streaked with ash and sweat. Daddy, is she going to die? No, I said quickly, too quickly. She just needs rest. My daughter stood close, clutching her rabbit. Can I stay here? Not tonight. She needs space. But, no buts. My tone came out sharper than I meant. Her lip trembled and guilt punched me. I softened. Tomorrow you can check on her. I promise. She nodded, slow and sad, and shuffled off to my room with her toy. I sat in the chair by the bed, watching the stranger breathe shallow, uneven breaths. My head throbbed with questions. What have I done? Why am I risking my little girl for someone I don't even know? But when she stirred, coughing, and her eyes fluttered open, all my doubts froze. Where am I? Her voice was cracked, panicked. She tried to sit up, but winced in pain. You're safe, I said softly, raising my hand to show I meant no harm. You're in my home. You were in a crash. I pulled you out. Her eyes darted around wildly. No, you shouldn't have. You don't understand. If they find me here, you'll be in danger too. Who? I pressed. She shook her head violently. Just let me go. I'll leave tonight. You can't even stand, I argued. Look at yourself. You need rest. She glared at me through the haze of exhaustion, fire flickering in her eyes even as tears welled. You don't know what you've done. My family, they control everything. If they know I'm here, you'll lose everything you love. My chest tightened. Then why were you running? Her lips trembled, and for a second she looked like a lost child. Because they were forcing me to marry a man twice my age. A deal, a contract. My life sold like a business asset. I leaned back, stunned. The weight of her words pressed hard on my chest. Daddy, my daughter peeked in, ignoring my earlier order. She stepped closer, eyes wide at the sight of the bride awake. Hi, she said gently, clutching her rabbit. Do you like pancakes? Daddy makes them even if he burns them sometimes. The woman blinked, caught off guard. Her lips curved slightly, almost against her will. Pancakes. My daughter nodded eagerly. Tomorrow, if you stay. Sweetheart, I warned softly, but the bride's breathing eased. Her body, tense and ready to bolt, seemed to relax an inch. You're kind, she whispered, her voice cracking as she looked at my little girl. I rubbed the back of my neck, torn between anger at the risk and relief at her softening. Why am I letting this happen? I can barely keep us afloat. What right do I have to carry someone else's battles? The bride turned back to me, eyes shining with stubborn resolve. If you're smart, you'll drive me far away and forget you ever saw me. My daughter gasped, but you can't leave. You're hurt. She climbed onto the bed beside her before I could stop her. You can stay here till you feel better. Daddy won't mind. I closed my eyes, fighting the war inside me. She wasn't wrong. I did mind. But looking at the stranger's trembling hands and my daughter's innocent trust, I couldn't find the strength to push her away. I don't know what I'm doing, I admitted under my breath. What? The bride asked. Nothing. I forced my voice steady. Rest. We'll figure out tomorrow. For the first time since the fire, she laid her head back on the pillow. Thank you, she whispered so faint I almost missed it. I exhaled, heavy with guilt, heavy with fear. Then, just as her breathing evened, bright headlights swept across my window. My heart stopped. Someone was outside. The glow of headlights slid across my wall, freezing me in place. My stomach dropped. They found me, the bride whispered, voice trembling. I snapped my head toward her. Quiet. Don't move. Her eyes widened, panic rising. If they see me... I said quiet. I hissed. My daughter tugged on my sleeve. Daddy, who is it? I forced calm into my voice, though my heart hammered. Stay close to me, sweetheart. Heavy footsteps crunched outside. Then a hard, deliberate knock rattled the door. Open up! A voice commanded, deep and sharp. The bride's breath hitched. Basement! I whispered to her. Now! I can't. You can... I cut her off. Move. I helped her limp toward the basement stairs, each creak louder than thunder in my ears. She clutched my arm, shaking. Daddy, my daughter whispered again, voice tiny. I'm scared. I know, baby. My throat felt raw. Stay behind me. Whatever happens, don't say a word. Another pounding at the door. We know she's here. Don't make this harder. My blood turned cold. How do they know? Did someone see me pull her out? I shut the basement door gently, leaving her in darkness, then drew a shaky breath and opened the front door a crack. 2 men in expensive suits stood on my porch, ties perfect, shoes gleaming even in the night. Their eyes, empty, sharp, scanning, landed on me like knives. Evening, I said, keeping my tone flat. Sorry to disturb, one of them replied, though his voice carried no apology. We're looking for someone. I tilted my head. Middle of the night? She's important. He slid a photo from his jacket and held it up. A younger, cleaner version of the bride stared back in the picture, wearing the same wedding gown. My chest tightened. Haven't seen her, I said quickly. His gaze lingered, testing me. Sure about that? Positive. I tightened my grip on the doorframe. The second man's eyes flicked to my daughter, peeking out from behind me. Pretty girl, he murmured. My daughter shrank back, clutching my shirt. My body tensed. Don't talk to her. He smirked, enjoying the reaction. Relax. We're just doing our job. Then do it somewhere else. I pushed the door a little more closed. The first man leaned forward, lowering his voice. If you see her, you call this number. It'd be in your best interest. People who hide her don't end well. My jaw clenched. Good night. I shut the door, locked it, and pressed my back against the wood, lungs refusing to work. Daddy, my daughter whispered. Are they gone? I listened. Footsteps retreated. Car door slammed. The hum of an engine faded into the night. Only then did I let out the breath I'd been holding. I slid down the door until I was sitting on the floor, trembling. What have I dragged us into? I should have left her. I should have protected my little girl first. But when I opened the basement door, her voice floated up weak but steady. Are they gone? Yes, I said, stepping down into shadows. She sat on the bottom stair, arms wrapped around herself. Her gown was wrinkled, ash-stained, her hair tangled. For the first time, I noticed the fear wasn't just panic. It was survival practiced, old. You weren't lying, I said quietly. They're hunting you. Her eyes glistened. They'll never stop. My father owns this city. Every business, every cop, every courtroom. If he wants me found, I'll be found. I rubbed a hand over my face. Your father? She nodded, voice breaking. The man who should protect me is the one trying to cage me. He'd rather see me dead than free. My chest ached. Why? Because freedom ruins a deal. Her laugh was bitter, hollow. My marriage was never about love. It was about power. I was just a price tag. I sank onto the step across from her, silent for a long moment. My daughter's tiny hand slipped into mine. She had followed me, standing bravely though her eyes shone with fear. Daddy, she whispered, are you going to keep her safe? Her question ripped through me. I wanted to say no, to admit I was already drowning as a father. But her hand squeezed mine, and I knew what she needed to hear. Yes, I said finally. I'll try. The bride let out a shaky breath, as if my words carried more weight than I intended. You don't understand, she whispered. tears streaking through the dirt on her cheeks. If you help me, you'll lose everything. I stared at her, my heart pounding. I already lost everything once. What else can they take from me? But I didn't say it. Not yet. Her words, "You'll lose everything," still echoed inside me long after silence swallowed the basement. I sat across from her, my daughter curled against my side, half asleep but refusing to let go of my hand. The dim light bulb above us buzzed softly, casting shadows that looked heavier than they were. I cleared my throat. You think I don't know what it means to lose everything? Her eyes flicked up, cautious. You don't. I swallowed hard. You're wrong. She tilted her head, studying me, then tell me. I wanted to stay quiet. I'd buried the story so deep even saying her name felt like dragging glass through my chest. But the look in the bride's eyes, defiant yet desperate, forced me open. My wife, I said, voice cracking more than I wanted. She died in a hospital bed while I stood there useless. The doctors, they kept saying there was nothing more they could do, and I kept begging. I begged like a child. I would have traded my life, my soul, anything just to keep her breathing. The bride's lips parted slightly, as if my confession had stolen her words. I held her hand while the machines beeped slower and slower. Do you know what it feels like to watch someone you love slip away while all you can do is stand there? My voice rose, harsher than I intended. Her eyes shimmered. No, she whispered. I shook my head, laughing bitterly. I thought I'd never recover. And maybe I didn't. I wake up every day knowing I wasn't enough to save her. And every time my daughter calls for her mother in her sleep, I want to punch a hole through the world. The bride's gaze softened, her defenses cracking. You loved her. I still do. I whispered, but grief doesn't disappear. It just builds a room inside you. And you live there, whether you want to or not. Her chin trembled. She shifted closer, her gown rustling against the stair. No one's ever loved me like that. Not once. Not for who I am. I frowned. You don't believe your father loved you? Her eyes hardened instantly, but tears betrayed her. My father owns me. Love doesn't exist in his world. Power does. Control does. To him, I'm not a daughter. I'm an asset. A pawn to be married off, traded, locked away. The silence between us stretched. My daughter stirred beside me, mumbling in her half-dream, then nestled closer. The bride's voice cracked. I've never been held without conditions. I've never been safe. I didn't think. I just moved. I wrapped my arms around her, tentative at first, then tighter when her body shook against mine. She tried to fight it, but the fight dissolved into sobs muffled against my shoulder. It's okay, I whispered, though I knew it wasn't. You don't have to be strong here. Her tears soaked into my shirt. She clung like someone who'd never been allowed to. And for the first time since I met her, I didn't see the runaway bride or the billionaire's daughter. I saw a woman starved of love. You're not a burden, I murmured. Not here. Not to me. Her sobs quieted. She pulled back slightly, eyes red and raw. Why are you helping me? I looked at my daughter, who had rolled over in her sleep, her tiny fist still clutching my shirt. Then I met the bride's gaze. Because once, someone helped me when I didn't deserve it. Because I can't watch another person drown while I stand by. Her lip trembled again, but instead of tears, a fragile smile flickered. A soft voice broke the stillness. She can stay, Daddy. I froze. My daughter sat up, rubbing her sleepy eyes. She looked at the bride, then at me. She can stay with us. My throat tightened. Kids have a way of cutting through walls adults spend years building. The bride's breath hitched. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything, I murmured. Just breathe. We sat in silence, the three of us bound together by wounds that somehow fit. For the first time in years, something stirred in my chest that wasn't grief or fear. It was small, fragile, unfamiliar. Hope. I almost didn't trust the feeling, afraid it might vanish if I looked directly at it. But when my daughter leaned her head on my shoulder and the bride exhaled like she'd been holding her breath her whole life, I let myself believe it, just a little. For one night, The world outside didn't matter. For one night, I wasn't a failure, and she wasn't a prisoner, and my daughter wasn't a child learning lost too young. We were just safe. But peace is a fragile thing. My phone buzzed on the table upstairs. I hesitated, then forced myself to check it. The message lit the screen. Mandatory meeting. Tomorrow. Boardroom. High-profile guests in attendance. My chest tightened. The bride's father would be there. And suddenly, hope felt dangerous. The words on my phone still burned in my mind as I walked into the glass-walled boardroom the next morning. My stomach twisted, but I forced my face into something that looked like calm. I took my seat. The table was long, polished, reflecting the cold fluorescent lights above. Executives shuffled papers, cleared throats, and muttered greetings. But when the heavy doors opened, the air itself changed. He walked in, immaculate suit, silver cufflinks, a smile sharp enough to cut glass. Her father, my chest tightened. Gentlemen, he said smoothly, his voice deep, commanding. Ladies. His gaze scanned the room like a hawk surveying prey. Then it landed on me. And you must be the young CEO I've heard about. I nodded, my palms damp beneath the table. Yes, sir. He sat at the head, folding his hands. I appreciate strong men who rise from nothing. Men who understand loyalty, sacrifice, family. The word family stuck like a thorn. Thank you. I managed. He chuckled softly, leaning back. Of course. Family can also be disappointing, disobedient. My pulse quickened. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a photo, and slid it across the table. A photo of her. Ash streaked across her gown, eyes wide with fear. The exact face I'd seen last night, crying into my shoulder. Have you, he said casual but sharp, seen this runaway? The room stilled. I felt every eye on me, though none of them mattered. Only his. My fingers curled into fists beneath the table. My throat tightened. If I tell the truth, I destroy her. If I lie, I risk everything. I forced a frown, studied the photo like it meant nothing. No, I said, steadying my voice. I haven't seen her. A pause. Too long. His smile didn't move, but his eyes narrowed. Curious, he murmured. She vanished not far from here. Someone must be hiding her, and whoever it is will regret it. Heat crept up my neck. I held his gaze, refusing to blink. He leaned forward, voice low, but clear enough for the room. Let me make this plain. Anyone who interferes with me, anyone who dares to shield her, will lose everything. Their fortune, their reputation, even their family. My heart slammed against my ribs. I saw my daughter's face flash in my mind, her small hand holding mine. He could take her from me. He has that kind of power. I swallowed hard, forcing a calm I didn't feel. I understand. He studied me, long and sharp, then finally leaned back, smiling again like none of it mattered. Good. Then let's proceed with business. The rest of the meeting blurred into noise. Numbers, graphs, projections. I couldn't hear any of it. All I heard was his threat echoing in my head. When the room finally emptied, he lingered. He stepped close to me, his cologne sharp, suffocating. His voice dropped. She's a foolish girl. Don't let foolishness destroy you, too. His smile was ice. You seem like a smart man. Stay smart. I clenched my jaw, staring at the floor until his footsteps faded. Only when the doors shut did I realize my hands were trembling. I pressed them flat against the table, trying to steady myself, but the weight of his words crushed me. He knows. Maybe not for sure, but he suspects. If he finds her under my roof, he'll burn everything I love to the ground. I left the building with my tie loosened, the city spinning around me. My only thought was getting home, seeing my daughter, making sure she was safe. When I pulled into the driveway, the house looked the same. Quiet, ordinary. But dread clawed at me as I rushed to the door. Sweetheart. I called, stepping inside. Silence. I checked the living room. Empty. My chest tightened. I hurried upstairs. My daughter sat on her bed, eyes wide with fear. She's gone, Daddy, she whispered. They took her. The floor tilted beneath me. The bride was gone. My daughter's words still rang in my ears. Daddy, you saved her once. You can save her again. She looked at me with tear-streaked cheeks, her small hands clutching mine like I was her last anchor. And in that moment, something inside me snapped, the fear, the hesitation, the excuses I'd lived under for years. I bent down, cupping her face. Sweetheart, I promise you, I won't let her disappear. Not while I'm breathing. Her eyes searched mine, trembling. You mean it? I swear. My voice broke, but my resolve didn't. I grabbed my jacket, my keys, nothing else. No weapon, no plan, just a father's fury driving me forward. The estate loomed like a fortress. Iron gates, stone walls, guards in suits with earpieces. My stomach churned, but I didn't slow down. Fear had no place left in me. I slammed the car door and marched to the gate. 2 guards crossed their arms. Business? One barked. I'm here for her, I said, my voice steady even though my chest was pounding. Their brows knit. You should leave. Tell him. I snapped, my voice louder than I expected, that the man his daughter almost died with on the side of the road is here. 1 guard spoke into his earpiece. Seconds later, the gate buzzed open. My throat tightened. I walked inside, every step echoing in my skull. The grand hall stretched wide, marble floors shining under crystal chandeliers. At the far end, on a raised platform like a throne, he sat, her father, and beside him, bound at the wrist, stood her, the bride, her gown torn, her face pale but her eyes burning. Ah! Her father said smoothly, standing. The liar returns. I clenched my fists. Let her go. He smirked, descending the steps. Do you know what it means to defy me? To march into my house and demand anything. I forced myself to meet his gaze. It means I'm not afraid of you anymore. He chuckled, low and cold. You should be. I could destroy you with a word. Your company, your home, your... Say my daughter's name. I growled, stepping closer. Say it, and I swear you'll regret it. For the first time, his mask cracked, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. He turned to the bride. See what kind of fools you attract? Men who mistake recklessness for courage. Her voice, weak but steady, cut through the room. No, men who know what love is. Something you'll never understand. My chest swelled. For the first time, she wasn't trembling. She wasn't hiding. He sneered. You ungrateful child. I gave you everything. You gave me chains, she shot back, her voice rising. A cage dressed as a palace. I'd rather die free than live as your possession. Her words silenced the hall. Even the guards shifted, uneasy. I stepped forward, standing between them. You heard her. She's not your pawn anymore. He glared at me, fury simmering beneath his polished mask. And who are you to stand in my way? I straightened, feeling every scar, every sleepless night, every ounce of grief that had shaped me. I'm a father. That's all I need to be. Silence. Heavy, electric. He looked from me to her, then back again. His jaw tightened. You think this ends here? You think you've won? I forced my voice steady. No. But today, you don't get to break her. For a long moment, he just stared. Then he turned sharply, signaling to his men. Release her. The guards hesitated, but obeyed. The rope fell from her wrists. She stumbled forward, and I caught her, steadying her against my chest. Her hands clung to my shirt, her breath shaky, but her eyes were alive. Her father's voice sliced through the moment. You walk out with her now, but remember this, my reach doesn't end at these gates. She will never truly be safe. And you, his eyes locked on mine, ice cold, you declared war. He turned his back, dismissing us like insects. I tightened my arm around her. Then let it be war. We walked out together, her hand gripping mine like it was her lifeline. My heart still pounded, but it wasn't fear this time. It was fire. Outside, the night air hit my face, sharp and cold. The gates opened, and for the first time, she crossed them not as a prisoner, but as someone who had chosen freedom. She looked up at me, her voice trembling. I couldn't have done that without you. I shook my head. You didn't need me. You already had that strength. I just stood beside you. Her lips curved into the smallest, bravest smile I'd ever seen. As I helped her into the car, my daughter's words replayed again. Daddy, you save her once. You can save her again. This time, I realized it wasn't just about saving her. It was about standing together. But as the estate disappeared in the rearview mirror, my chest tightened with the weight of what lingered. He'd let us go for now, and I knew men like him never surrendered. The memory of that night at the estate still lingers, sharp as broken glass. His threats echo in my head, and some nights I wake up convinced shadows at the window belong to his men. But weeks have passed, and for the first time in years, my house feels like a home again. Laughter fills the kitchen now, light, real laughter. My daughter sits at the table, coloring with every crayon she owns. Across from her, the bride leans over, pretending to be serious. No, no, she says, pointing with a pencil. That sun needs sunglasses. Otherwise, it'll be too bright. My daughter giggles. You're silly. I'm serious. The bride slips on a pair of my daughter's toy glasses. See? Even I can't look at it without protection. Their laughter collides, a sound I thought I'd never hear inside these walls again. My chest tightens, not with grief this time, but with something gentler. I lean against the counter, coffee cooling in my hands. This is what I thought I'd lost forever. Daddy, my daughter calls, her grin wide. She's worse at drawing than you. I feign shock. Impossible. No one's worse than me. The bride smiles at me, soft, grateful. He's not that bad. I shrug. I can barely draw stick figures. She's being polite. For a moment, everything feels normal, like the way of the world isn't waiting outside. Later, when my daughter runs upstairs to fetch a toy, the quiet between us stretches. The bride traces the edge of her cup, eyes distant. You've given me more than I can ever repay, she says softly. You don't owe me anything. I reply. Her gaze flickers up. I owe you my life. I shake my head. No, you chose to fight back that night. I just stood beside you. She exhales, her lips curving faintly. No one's ever stood beside me before. I don't know what to say, so I sip my coffee and let the warmth anchor me. As days turn into weeks, she starts to change. She trades a ruined gown for jeans and a borrowed sweater. She cooks with us, burns pancakes, then laughs at herself. She helps my daughter with homework, listens when she talks about school, and I find myself watching her, not out of fear anymore, but out of something I barely dare name. One evening, after my daughter falls asleep, I sit with her on the porch. The air is crisp, stars scatter across the sky. I don't know where to go from here, she admits, her voice fragile. Then stay until you figure out, I say. Her eyes search mine. Would that be okay? I nod slowly. This house was too quiet before. You brought life back into it. She looks away, blinking fast, like holding back tears. I thought freedom would feel empty, but here it feels different, like I'm not just surviving. I'm living. Her words sink deep. I realize I've been surviving too, ever since my wife died. Just breathing, just moving. But with her here, something shifted. One afternoon, I find my daughter and her tangled in blankets on the couch, reading aloud from a fairy tale. And the princess, my daughter says, wasn't saved by a prince. She saved herself. The bride laughs. That's my favorite part. When they notice me watching, my daughter grins. Daddy, she's like my sister now. My throat tightens. My little girl finally has someone to look up to again. But not everything is easy. At night, I still think of her father's words. I picture him pulling strings, waiting for us to slip. Sometimes I wonder if I've doomed us by bringing her into our lives. Then I hear my daughter's laughter upstairs, or I see the bride smiling in the kitchen, and I know I wouldn't change a thing. It's a quiet Sunday morning when the question comes. My daughter, in her pajamas, curls against me on the couch. The bride is folding laundry nearby, humming under her breath. Daddy, yes, sweetheart. She looks up at me, her eyes wide, serious. Is she going to stay forever? My heart clenches. I glance at the bride, who freezes mid-fold, her eyes on me. I swallow hard. Forever. What does that even mean? I smooth my daughter's hair. I don't know, baby. Why not? Because forever is the long time. Sometimes people stay. Sometimes they can't. But what matters is the time we do have together. She frowns. But I want her to stay. The bride sets the laundry down, kneels beside us. Her voice is gentle. I want to stay too. My daughter beams, hugging her tightly. Then it's forever. I smile, even as my chest aches with the weight of uncertainty. I don't know if her father will come back. I don't know if she'll choose another path one day. But as I watch the two of them together, wrapped in something I thought I'd lost forever, I feel whole again. For the first time since my wife's death, the house isn't haunted. It's alive. I don't know what tomorrow holds. But tonight, hope sits at my table. And maybe, just maybe, forever isn't about promises. It's about moments like this.